Just don't make a reference to The Office. Don't do it. Everyone does it. It's so tacky. It's so overdone. You don't want to be that guy. But it's. I can feel it bubbling up. Just push it back down. It's kind of finding its way out. I don't think I can contain this one. Ryan started the fire! I think it's time I continue my streak of Fall Out Boy related hot takes. Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and Fall Out Boy started the fire by doing a cover of the #1 hit song from 1989, the piano man himself, Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire, Fall Out Boys edition. If you're not familiar with the original song, it was a track that Billy Joel conceived after talking to a young friend. Around his 40th birthday, he put this song out because the young friend had talked about the idea that the world has never been this bad before, and Billy Joel wrote a song that dated back to 1949, the year that he was born, chronicling in chronological order everything that kind of happened, a lot of major milestones, whether that be pop culture, politics, etc., etc. His song covered 40 years worth of events, everything that he saw in his life just flashing before his eyes put to song, and it really is genius when you think about how well it flows, especially knowing that he made it fit in chronological order. Before I talk about my actual thoughts on Fall Out Boy's cover, the general reaction to this is all over the map, generally leaning very negative. In fact, I would say that people are big mad over this thing. It's not in chronological order. The events are kind of all over the place. It can feel a bit bizarre according to what people are saying. This shit is ass. Drop it. What the fuck were they thinking? I grew up in a Piano Man loving household. My parents were pretty big Billy Joel fans, and that was kind of a rarity, a standout along the likes of the Eagles. They mainly listened to like country and Christian music. I think I've said this before, but Uptown Girl is the first like mainstream popular song that I can remember falling in love with around like age 4 and just belting out the lyrics. So when I say that I have Billy Joel in my veins, I absolutely mean it. And I preface it with all of that because I don't at all hate this cover. Some of you may think that I'm simping for Fall Out Boy, but that's simply not the case. If I were doing that, then I would have praised their most recent album that I absolutely did not love, So Much For Stardust. Go check out my review if you don't believe me. Cover songs are meant to be different, and I will fully admit to having this almost weird fetish for loving when a cover song changes things up so drastically. Not to say that the musicality of this track is all that different, but I like it when it kind of flips something on its head, and I don't think Fall Out Boy are here trying to say, oh, this is better than the original, this is meant to be the new definitive version because we talk about current events. Instead, I just think it's kind of an update, a refresh for the internet age. From SpongeBob to Kanye and Taylor Swift to rhyming George Floyd, Metroid, there is a lot of bizarre twists and turns, and I highly encourage you to actually sit down and read along with the lyrics while you're listening to the song, because to me, it kind of opens up this extra dimensional black hole that just sucks you into the weirdness. Before we dive deeper into that, I wanted to talk about the music on this track, because I do feel that that might get swept under the rug in certain conversations because the lyrics are just kind of polarizing, and obviously that's the big buzzy thing that everyone's talking about. The music here is quintessentially Fall Out Boy. In fact, it kind of reminds me of when they covered Beat It by the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, back in like 2009. Neil Avron was brought back as producer of this new cover, and with him doing their original run of albums, some of their biggest ones like Fully Ado and From Under the Cork Tree, it's nice to see that this song really kind of balances itself out. There's a lot of fun with the pianos, and obviously I think that there's a lot of credit that's due to Joe Troman, Andy Hurley, and even Pete Wentz. I really like that you can hear that this is an entire band affair. So why the hate? Why is everyone throwing up their arms and grabbing their torches and pitchforks ready to storm the castle of Fall Out Boy? I think a lot of people hate the fact that, like I said, it's not in order. But hear me out. I think this makes perfect sense for the era that we're in, of being chronically online. Are we seriously sitting here trying to pretend that in the internet age that we don't have a hard time remembering when something happened? Information is flowing down this superhighway at 1,000,000 trillion miles a minute, and we have no idea when certain things happen. You could say, oh, when was COVID? And you're like, oh, that was like 6 months ago, right? Oh shit, that was like 3 years? What? And yes, I know they did not mention COVID in this song. It feels like if we're touching on momentous occasions, huge culturally relevant events, how did we miss a global worldwide pandemic that lasted for years and is still technically going on? We didn't start the pandemic! But seriously, in the age of being so plugged in with every tidbit of information being directly at our fingertips, not even having to go to the library, do research anywhere else, just plug it into Google, or Bing, if you're a weirdo. But just plug it into Google and boom, there it is, right there in front of you. And in the same breath, you could also look at it like, oh, we're in this age of, is truth even a thing anymore? People believe what they want to, or the person that they follow, or like, oh, it's just all a big ball of conspiracy. And that's what I'm trying to get at. It feels like so many neurons are firing off in various directions on this cover, and that's kind of why I love it. It probably also helps that I was born in 1991, so all of these events feel like, oh wow, a light just went off on my head remembering these things that have passed me by, and it does feel like all of that information gets tangled together in my head. I really do wish this cover was longer and had added a 5th verse like the original Billy Joel song did, and I do think, obviously, spoiler alert, the original is better because that's the man that conceived this. It was a brainstorm that just flew out at a fury of words onto a piece of paper in order and hit you in that way. But again, I think this is an interesting take for the internet era. Even with my cynical ass over here sitting around with this blackened heart on his sleeve, I kind of appreciate that they kind of gave this hopefulness to the cover. They changed the lyrics, if you notice, during the chorus from Billy Joel's version where he's saying, but we tried to fight it, but we're trying to fight it, is what they offered. They rhymed Oklahoma bomb with Pokemon and a lot of other reoccurrences that just get downright weird and just make you go like, what did they just sing? And they did give a shout out to my favorite album, the best album of all time, The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. So I'm a happy camper, I'm fine with this. Relax a little bit, try to see a different perspective. That's mine, and hopefully you reconsider, give the song a second listen, even if you hated it at first. Thank you for watching, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts on Fall Out Boy's cover of We Didn't Start the Fire in the comments, and check out all of my Fall Out Boy videos in this playlist on screen, and don't forget to give me a follow on Instagram at ARTV John, and I'll see you next time.